You look like you're having a good time.
I look like I'm ready to have a good time.
With the glasses like this.
I may go to Miami for my birthday,
You gonna sell cocaine? When's your birthday?
May 21st.
What's the last 4 of your social security number? What street
I'll
did you grow up
be
on?
28.
Just asking.
28.
Just curious. Overall. 28? I thought you were 26.
27.
Okay.
Yeah.
Almost crest into...
Officially old.
Almost
pretty
crest
much.
into 30.
Yep. Why does it actually matter that women care about their age? Like, why is it a social stigma that it's like really like they actually can genuinely get upset if you ask a woman their age?
It's a fine question. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's avoidance of the judgment that comes with age-related labeling.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Like, maybe I'm not valuable as a partner now if someone knows my age, or
yeah,
yeah.
something like that.
I think it might be our culture's unacceptance of like death. You know, that there's like, it's like if you get older, you're like, oh, I'm actually at some point gonna face death. And it's like they don't even want to think about it.
I'm of the opinion that it just means that they want to be perceived as being younger than they are.
Yeah.
That like
Because they just
you don't want
know,
to like disturb that goal. You know what I mean? Like if you see through the facade, they don't want you to know it.
Yeah. Well, every woman wants to look young and beautiful.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's like the knowledge of their age could be like a filter turning on or off how you perceive them, I guess. So
I'll say that aging is the #1 trip out there. Over all other trips, aging is the trippiest of it all. Because you feel the same as when you were 20,
yeah.
but you look in the mirror and you look like a completely different person.
Yeah.
And that dichotomy is like really confusing.
Yeah.
When it dawns on you, you're like, this is really weird. Like time's elapsing and I'm actually changing physically, but mentally I still feel like the same person. I mean, there's subtle maturities that happen in the personality, but more than that, it's like mentally you just kind of feel like the same person.
What do you think of this quote? Aging is a fact, but getting old is a choice.
I think that's an optimistic attitude to carry. And in a way it's true. But there are certain like facts of like physical life that are just unavoidable.
For sure.
You know, like your avatar just has parts and those parts wear out with movement over time.
Turtles live to 100 and whatever, and flies live for what, 2 weeks, 8 weeks?
Yeah, do you know
Like
what
biologically
causes
we have a time frame.
you know what causes aging?
The accumulation of toxins?
It's actually your DNA becomes less efficient at making copies of itself. So you can think of it as like, oh, we got a guest star.
Hey,
Mini bike. All right. So things are wild in the hood. Forgive us, folks. So if you think about like a photocopy, right? If I take a picture and I put it in a photocopier and I take a copy of that, then I take the one that comes out of the photocopier and I put it back in the flatbed and I take a copy of that, and then I take the next one and I do that over and over and over again.
Eventually
the one that's coming out is like kind of a photographic negative. It's like kind of a graphite, negative of the original document that was in there in the first place. And so that's really what happens to your DNA when you age. It's just more, it becomes less effective at replicating itself. And that ineffectiveness in replication is, in fact, aging in and of itself.
Yeah, because we're like, aren't we like always, not even in like a real spiritual sense, but like it's like we're always kind of dying and we're always being born, as in like millions of cells are always dying and millions of cells are always being created like daily.
Yeah,
are those cells just copies of the previous cell?
Yeah, roughly every 7 years, your body has completely changed itself, with the exception of certain brain cells and nerve cells that are in your spine. And there might be a few other exceptions. I don't know the whole story, but for the most part, your whole body is completely new every 7 years. Every cell has turned itself over. Aside from those cells that can't be reproduced, right? Like brain cells, neurons, things like that. Some of those things are just you get it for life. You got kind of a limited stack, and that's what you're working with. But
Yeah.
most of the cells in your body do replicate at least once every 7 years. So I've heard. I mean, I can't say that this is true, but I have heard that every 7 years, every cell in your body has completely turned itself over.
I've heard that too, which is, it gives hope to becoming a new version of yourself. I think it's like, okay, like even physically, I can change, like actually be completely different.
Got a little guest star.
There he is.
Little guest star came
Maximus
up to
Staticus.
say hi. Yeah. Hi, Max. Max, say hi to the people in internet land. Can you say hi? No, not feeling talkative. Okay. Oh, okay.
Max likes to keep his secrets.
Can you get down, Max? Max is turning 16 in 2 weeks. He's really getting up there.
Dude, we got similar birthdays, bud. Maybe he's coming to Miami with me.
When's your birthday?
May 21st.
Isn't that Griffin's birthday?
I don't know.
I think he's the 24th.
Is he? I got a lot of friends that are all in that, like, May 18th to 30th.
He's either the same
era.
birthday as you, or he's the 24th. So you're
My best friend Connor is the 24th.
yeah, you're real close to one another.
Nice.
For those in our studio audience, Griffin is another tenant here at this home. He's a roommate. He hails from Colorado.
Stand up, dude. I met someone within the past year that I believe was within 3 days of us being born. Like, they were like 3 days younger or 3 days older than me. Something like that. I can't remember who they are. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I'd never met someone that close. How crazy would it be to meet someone that was born like the same day as you?
I once slept with a girl that was born the exact same day as me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like, well, that seems crazy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was like...
It's like you get to see what someone else in the exact same amount of time on planet Earth like
exact
did.
same birthday, exact same year.
They experienced all the same major...
I feel like we both recognize the
timestamp.
Yeah, we
Like-
we both acknowledge just the synchronicity of the moment and felt the need to like
Unite.
figure out our own curiosity about what this phenomena means. Yeah, I felt like
How did you...
I felt like we were on a wavelength of understanding.
How did y'all meet?
At a party.
Nice. How did that come up? How did y'all find out?
I don't remember.
Was it like later on or?
But it was like
before?
serendipitous. It was
Yeah.
like, well, that's interesting. It's kind of like sleeping with myself.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is interesting.
It was short-lived.
Yeah.
Yeah, so recently we both started to take some methylene blue. I'm sorry, it's pronounced methylene blue.
Yeah.
I keep saying methylene, but it's methylene. I had a neurological nurse correct me on this.
Methylene or methylene?
Methylene, like crystal meth.
I've heard it say both.
Crystal meth is
Methylene
the
blue.
correct way to pronounce it, apparently. Yeah, so that's been interesting. For those who aren't in the know, it's a dye. It was actually originally developed as a dye in like the 1940s or 50s, maybe. I'm guessing on that. And I learned about it through the UFC fighter. What is his name? Like Vance something. I'm really
There's a lot of them out there. I don't know.
yeah, I'm kind of slaughtering this, but anyway, this UFC fighter, he got a really bad concussion during a fight, and he basically became a vegetable, and he was kind of out of the fighting. He was out of life. Didn't really things were not going good for him. Kind of almost like a traumatic brain injury
Okay.
that he got through fighting.
Got
It was
it.
like more than a concussion.
Yeah.
And so he started taking this methylene blue after researching it, and discovered that it was like really, really helpful and helped him actually heal his neurological condition. And now he's like back to fighting. He's back to being normal. And he was so inspired by the changes that it made for him that he created a company and started selling like USP medical grade methylene blue.
Nice.
Now,
So that's what we have. That's his.
so that's what
product.
we've
Cool.
got.
Cool,
We've
cool,
got his product, and it's
cool. Maybe you
reasonably
can see it on my beautiful smile.
it's kind of reasonably priced. and yeah, it dyes everything. If you mix it with orange juice, then it doesn't dye things. So like I've been mixing it with OJ and just swinging it back, and they say that, well, number one, it's actually an MAOI, which stands for monoamine oxidase inhibitor,
Okay.
which is a special type of compound that inhibits the enzymes in your gut that normally would block certain things from reaching your brain. And this potentiates other things. So you can't mix it with certain things. You're not supposed to mix it with alcohol. You're not supposed to mix it with, things that could be dangerous combinations of compounds to put in your body.
Yeah.
And they say that the claims they make of it are that it increases your energy, that it causes your mitochondria in your cells, which are the energy centers of your cells. They're like the little nuclear power plants in each one of your cells. And it causes those mitochondria to be more active,
Okay.
to be more efficient. And from that, you get greater energy. But there's also all these other secondary sort of effects to it. It's really great for your neurological health. There's hundreds and hundreds of research papers.
I saw one just when I was looking up today. It was
written
like
all about
stress
it.
balance. Like it helps with stress.
There's been reports that if you take like a double dose of it, that you can actually knock out the C virus really easily with it. That one guy knocked out the C virus in 2 days by taking
Just using a lot of that?
just using a lot of
Dang.
methylene blue. And so it has all these really sort of interesting properties. It's fully synthetic, and it looks completely blue. Like it looks like the water of life from Dune 2, right?
Yeah.
It looks exactly like that color, that rich blue kind of color. It's good for stroke recovery. It's good for traumatic brain injury. They're showing that it prevents Parkinson's and other neurological degenerative diseases
Bottom
like
line, look it up.
Alzheimer's. It's a super, super, super interesting compound.
If you can't remember all the benefits of methylene blue, just try
Evidently
some
it's-
methylene blue, and then you'll remember it.
Yeah, evidently it's good for. And we don't sell it. We're not sponsored, not yet anyway. But like, I would consider a sponsorship with these folks because it's been really, really helpful, and it's good for people. It's showing efficacy with bipolar. It's showing efficacy with depression. It's showing efficacy with like people that have like sort of like manic mood swing type disorders.
Yeah.
It's showing efficacy for clarity, for memory, for your general energy levels and attention. A lot of people are able to substitute out caffeine by taking just methylene blue.
Yeah.
And I got to say, so far, and I'm only 4 days into trying it, it's noticeable. Each day, I've noticed a layer.
Yeah.
Like the first 2 days, I didn't really notice much, but day 3, it really kicked on, and like I'm feeling it more day 4. There's a nuanced, subtle difference, and placebo is so much like how we think about things, right?
Yeah, of course.
Is so much,
Yeah.
but I do notice
Even with it, yeah.
I do notice a difference, after just a few days. Like normally, if I don't sleep enough, I feel really exhausted the next day.
That is true, because I've been
and-
taking it at the same time, and my energy has been a lot more steady throughout the day.
And for whatever reason, sleeping less, I still feel like
Yeah,
pretty good
just
the
good.
next day, less crabby. So so far the experiment's going really well.
Yeah, there's a first time I heard about it. If anyone wants to look up more of it, Matt Blackburn, Mito Life Radio podcast has a great, and like you could just search methylene blue, Mito Life, and he's got like two-hour podcasts talking all about it. I don't remember all this. He talks about a lot of stuff you said, but in depth, and that's when I first got interested. And then you're the one that actually that's the first time I've tried it. So.
Yeah, I think it's anti-inflammatory. I think
Yeah, it's got a
I think
lot.
it's helpful for people that have multiple sclerosis. I think there's like a number of different it's a bit of a panacea in terms
Yeah.
of what it can do, but it mostly is focused around the brain.
Yeah.
Like there's two things that'll take you out of the game of life, okay? Most people die from either a cardiovascular related issue or a brain related issue. Like we're talking 80 to 90% of all people who pass away from old age or whatever, they either die from a cardiovascular issue or a brain issue.
Yeah.
So in terms of longevity, right? Like the stack that's most common right now for people that are extending their life is they do what's called metformin. And metformin is a diabetes drug from the 1960s that they found is like wildly helpful for just like regulating blood sugar. It's a prescription pharmaceutical. You can get it from your doctor by request, not just for diabetes, but for just longevity in general.
Yeah.
Okay. And then a combination of NNM, which is like it's like a nicotine-based molecule. It stands for like neonicot something, and resveratrol. So you stack resveratrol, NNM, and then take metformin, and that's like considered like a 10-year life extending stack. Okay, just those three. You take just those three things, you're gonna get another 10 years of life out of your body. And most of that is actually in your cardiovascular system, right? Which kind of leaves your brain open to these things. But I feel like if you add methylene blue to that, right, like you're adding like a really significant layer to where, like, in terms of your well-being and your life extension, like it's a pretty complete package and frankly pretty cost effective.
Yeah.
Where like almost anyone could live 10 years longer than they would otherwise for like, I don't know, a few dollars a day at the most. And most people don't know about this. Like it's all out there. It's all available. It's all,
Yeah.
you don't need anything special to get any of these things that I'm mentioning.
I think they get it. It's worth checking out. We're trying.
Like I'm going to start taking NNM soon. I'm now 40, so I'm going to start taking NNM and resveratrol, and if I can get it, metformin, because it's super cheap. It's like $15 for like a month or two supply, like very inexpensive. And yeah, evidently this is like the money cocktail to like give yourself an extra 10 years of life. Like I'm super into life extension, and one of the reasons is technology, right? Like look at the pace of technological growth and what we've seen just over a decade, and it's just accelerating, right? It's like a exponential curve, meaning every consecutive 10 years you live beyond what you would have, you're going to see 100 times more cool stuff than the previous 10 years, right? If I see 10x the growth in this 10-year block, the following will be 20, the following will be 40,
Yeah.
and so on and
Yeah.
so on.
It's always gonna get
So like
utterly
those
more
extra 10
fascinating.
years, like you're going to see some really cool stuff in just that time frame, which I
Yeah.
think is a cool idea to
Yeah.
just like imagine. Do you know how long you want to live? Have you thought about how long you want to live?
Yeah, I think realistically, I'm gonna shoot for what's maximum like realistic, so like minimum 120. So 90 more years ago, give or take 5.
Do you think that's realistic?
Yeah, I mean, if my grandfather lived basically 100, and he was a simplistic man, and he loved his wine and his tobacco and his everything else. Like I think with a little more effort, and I think I got the genes that makes it possible, and I think I got a little more information than other people had. I mean, granted, people that grew up in the 1920s and 30s, you know, they weren't eating organic because everything just was organic. But yeah, I think it's possible. So I think it's possible. To go back to what you said about the game of life. For you, Brendan, if life is a game, how do you see yourself winning it?
I mean, everybody defines it differently.
Exactly. What is it for you? How would you win your game of life?
Well, I think life is largely driven by your emotions, right? Like it's largely driven by your emotions.
Yeah.
And if you look at the qualities that produce good emotions, right? I mean, having money is a part of that plan, right? Certainly human comfort is a part of having good emotions. You know, you wouldn't be able to live in like a poverty type situation, like in the plains of Africa, in scarcity, and, you know, find a huge level of happiness, I feel. But what they find is that when it comes to happiness, actually your human relationships are actually the biggest contributor. Your job, having a sense of purpose, if you get married and you have a spouse, you know, husband, a wife, that these are actually, and your just day-to-day interpersonal relationships with
Yeah.
other people are the largest driving contributors to how happy you actually are. And I wouldn't say that like happiness in and of itself is the goal of life, like not for most people.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, certainly it's a part of the picture. I think, you know, a sense of purpose, a sense of creating a legacy, leaving an impact, helping other people. But also these activities also are something that produce happiness in people, right? You as somebody who's giving, there's a reward in that from a biological, chemical level, right?
Yeah.
Of doing something kind for someone else. You yourself feel some sense of like inner reward through doing that. But yeah, I think it varies person to person, and part of life is about discovering what that question means to you. So like, I don't know, how would you answer that question? What dictates or creates a good life from your perspective?
Well, that's a different question. Which one do you want me to answer?
Well, what was your original question?
How would you personally, like, what would be your what would be like how you would win your game of life? Like if life was a game for you, I think we all kind of create our own game. So like how would you win your life if it was a game? Like what would be like you made it past the final bosses, you got to all the rewards, you got like you did the things, you know, quote unquote, you completed the missions.
I think
You
for
like
me,
you had the thing. Like what is those things for you?
I mean, I don't know specifically how I would answer that. I think for me, it's just about living up to my own expectations day to day, about my level of performance and discipline and hard work and dedication and
Yeah.
things of that nature. And only you know that
Yeah.
personally. Like
That's
you,
why I think it's definitely
like
like
you know if you're sucking ass, and you know if you're doing well, and you
yeah.
know if you're putting in the the grease and doing it. But you're really the only one who knows that, you
Yeah.
know? I mean,
Well, I feel
there's
like
the outer reflection of success, right, with others, and other people get to see sort of the compounded byproduct of that hard work, right, and have a sort of societally shaped perspective of what that means. But like only you truly know, like
yeah.
really what it took mentally and physically to
Tom
get
Tom
from A to
Bilyeu
B.
Tom Bilyeu has a great quote on that. He not that I completely agree with him, but he says the only thing that matters is how you feel about yourself when you're by yourself. And it's a pretty like powerful summary of that. It's like at the end of the day, it's like you know what you did for better for worse, right or wrong, like how hard it was, whatever it was. You know if you made the choices you wanted to make or not, and like you keep that, good or bad. You can always change the present, but it's like you alone live with that. Whether it's like you could have all the status and you could have the relationships, but if you have something really misaligned where you're like, man, I really didn't follow my heart, or I really was out of integrity, like you go to sleep every night knowing that you made those choices, or vice versa. You're like, man, I like fully always committed to what I thought was right, and I always like took the risk that I wanted to take, and however it played out, like you get to live with that like inner satisfaction. But to like as a reflection of what you said, it sounded like at the beginning, the first like kind of the first time I asked you, it sounded like having tremendous like emotional kind of health, or like having healthy, happy, stable emotions would be like important to you like throughout your life. And it sounded like having really good relationships like with your spouse and the people you work with and the people you live with.
Yeah,
like those would be important
I think
contributors.
I think if I could distill it down, it would be having financial abundance, having harmonious and positive relationships with friends and with a spouse that feed me and grow me
Yeah.
and don't drain me.
Yeah.
I think having a sense of purpose, that I'm making a difference in the world, that I'm
Yeah.
making a difference in other people's lives. I think for me, those are probably the main fundamental pillars. And I think like from that probably branches out like legacy and things like that. Ultimately, yeah, I think those are probably kind of the main things. And if you look at the science of happiness, those tend to be the main things that
Yeah.
drive happiness,
Yeah.
is the quality of those things. So I do think those are important questions to ask yourself.
There was something I'm constantly like asking, like, kind of what's the right thing for me to be doing, or what should I do with my life, or what's like my kind of unique contribution. And I'm reading that book, the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, and something I read today, he was saying like there is something in this world that needs you most, which is like there's something you're uniquely circumstantially built to to kind of win at or like give the most to you more than anyone else in the world due to like your own genetics, your own experience, your own like mindset. Like there's something you can do better than anyone else on the planet. And he's like, you should spend a lot of time finding out what that unique thing is, because once you find it, like you're uniquely able to fulfill it. And so I thought that was really interesting. So for me, that would be like an answer, like that would be a thing for me, is finding really what I'm uniquely capable of that the world needs, and being able to like as a mission or purpose like to give that to the world. And
like Michael Jackson's moonwalk.
Yes, exactly. Not even kidding. Yeah.
So you gotta
it's like what's your unique expression?
You gotta find your moonwalk.
Yeah, you gotta find your moonwalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because nobody can moonwalk like Michael.
It's true.
I mean,
So it's like, what's that for you? Because we all got something, and like when you find that thing and you do it, like you'll probably be rewarded exponentially for it. Because it's gonna be valuable. So I think that's a big one for me, just doing that. And I feel like when you find that purpose and you find that kind of line, like the right things come to you alongside that, the right people that are meant to be there, the right like environment for you, like those things kind of are. It's like the Bible says, it's like seek first the kingdom of God and all these things will be added to you. I think it's kind of like that. It's like seek first what you're here to do, and like don't worry too much about the rest. Like that'll naturally form itself around it.
And there's so much distraction too, right? Like when you think about the programming that's out there, when people, like there's so many things that people believe are going to bring them long-lasting happiness, right? Yeah. And they work and they strive for those things, and sometimes toil and like really kill themselves to get those things. A lot of it material. And often it's the case that when they get it, it doesn't fill that hole that they had. They realize once they've actually done it that wasn't really what they were looking for.
Yeah.
And you hear that a lot. And I think that's a really big thing in our current times, in our place, in the States, in Instagram culture and TikTok and all this like quick Happy Meal dopamine hit type content, right? Mm-hmm. Where people are like, oh, I need to get the Lambo, I need the watch, I need the the fancy cigars, and I got to live in the mansion in Dubai or my life will be incomplete.
Yeah.
But like, isn't that just a mental thing? I mean,
fundamentally nothing changes.
Right. And I think about like Iman Gadzhi, for example, right? Like he talks about the most important thing to him is having clean sheets on his bed every night. That like above all else, beyond the cars, the watches, like all these things that he's accumulated as a multi, decamillionaire, that the thing that matters most to him is just getting to get into the ocean each day and just have a clean set of sheets on his bed every night. That like that is more significant to him than having the $750,000 Rolls-Royce Phantom and the multi-million-dollar mansion and down in the ocean.
And like, what a cool perspective to share, because it's like, okay, someone that literally has whatever he wants or can have whatever he wants.
Yeah.
You get to hear like, no, this is what I actually like. At the end of the day, after I've had it all, long term, these are the things I care about.
Yeah, it's not the girls.
It's like, and we can cut the middleman out a little bit and be like, all right, well, maybe those things are valuable for a reason. Well, maybe it is important to just have a little nature time and like keep your space clean. Like maybe no matter how rich you get, those things are always just going to be really important.
Yeah. I mean, all activities, you do them because you believe in doing those things that you're doing, that you'll be happier in the having of having them.
Yeah.
Right? The reason you work towards getting a Rolls Royce is you believe that you will be happier by having the Rolls Royce than not having it. Yeah. But if you can shortcut and find a way to find the happiness without the Rolls Royce, well, then the Rolls Royce just becomes an attachment at that point. At that point, it doesn't serve the function that you think it's going to serve. Yeah. And I'm not saying I don't want a Rolls Royce Phantom, because Lord knows I do. They're awesome. They're amazing and well engineered. And yes, I would love one. But if I could be as happy without having that, is it really necessary? Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I guess that's kind of a big question, because, for some people, I think that's probably possible, while other people maybe can't, spiritually get to that point where they are able to achieve that level of happiness without actually having that material thing. Like, they've built in their mind this notion that, if they have that, they'll be happy. Yeah. And the sad part is when they get it and then they're still not happy, right? Yeah. Like, that's the most tragic thing of capitalistic Western society right now, is that people build up in their minds so much that if they get X or they get Y or they get Z, then they will be happy.
And
but then actually get it and like spend a lot of their life getting that, and then ultimately discover that it didn't give them the sense of lasting happiness that they believed that it would as they worked for it all along. So
there's
these are interesting ideas.
There's like a Buddha summary that Naval Ravikant gave, which is basically like, desire is just a contract you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get something that you decided you want. It's like, okay, since Rolls Royce will make me happy, I will be less happy until I get Rolls Royce. So for 15 years until I get it, I'm holding back a level of happiness within myself because that dissatisfaction will drive me to go get the thing. And then once I get the thing, now I'll allow myself to be happier, even though you could have just had that the whole time.
But who are we kidding?
You know?
Do you think you can do that?
What?
Can you honestly tell me that you can feel as happy as you would if I handed you the keys to a Rolls-Royce Phantom worth $750,000 right now, parked in the driveway? Can you honestly tell me that you can conjure up that level of excitement and happiness just solely out of yourself?
No.
Because I can be honest and say that I definitely can't do that. Maybe someday, but I can't do that. Like, you're not gonna trick my brain into being like, you have the best. Like,
yeah, but I think there's something to be said for like, I don't know, like, you know, I'm kind of just spitballing on this, but it's kind of like happiness is a little bit negligible. Like, you can be just as happy like seeing an old friend and giving him a hug as getting a Rolls Royce. Like there's not like this 1,000-point scale of happiness, and like most things only give you 50 points, and then the Rolls Royce gives you 1,000. It's like everything gives you like this small range of happiness. This doesn't have like an infinite increasing line, you know? Like, whether you just have the mill you want or the Rolls Royce, you're going to be like, in those moments when you get those things, like, you're going to be about the same level of happiness. Maybe you'll have more energy behind it for a moment, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a good cup of coffee might give you the same feeling. It just seems bigger in our heads. Like, either you get some happiness or you don't, but it's like, does that make sense? Am I explaining that correctly?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think there's something to be said for like hitting a goal that you've been trying for.
Yeah.
Right? That, like,
I think that's more like a fulfillment
thing. Reward that you get from like you've been really striving towards something and then you get it. Even if it isn't important. It could be important or unimportant, but just the fact that you're striving towards it.
Yeah. If
you hit it, it's like...
I think it's like different than happiness. Like that like satisfaction.
Like that dopamine is awesome, you know? Yeah. Max is just, he wants to be on the podcast today. he's about it. What's up, bro? Go say hi.
Looking good. What's up, Max? You look like a...
Did you hear about that fake titty that washed up on the beach in Florida?
Like
I heard this on Theo Vaughn. I guess a fake breast implant rolled up on
just rolled
up on the beach like
the little package,
like a seashell.
Never even seen one. I don't even know what they look like.
They look like little bags of jelly. You ever squeezed a fake titty?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh wow, what was that like?
They're kind of weird, kind of firm.
Firm?
Yeah.
Did it feel plastic? Did it feel like artificial?
A little bit,
like you were like squeezing a kid's toy?
A little bit. It wasn't like over the top. It wasn't Matt Rife like squeaky toy.
That was hilarious. If no one's ever seen this video, what's his name?
Matt Rife.
This comedian Matt Rife, he calls out this woman in the audience and like they
have like a whole 10-minute interaction.
He's like roasting an audience member. He's like stand-up comedian. And you
could just type in, Matt Rife, I came here for blowjobs and cookies.
He asked this woman to squeeze her titty, and it squeaks like a squeaky toy for a dog. And like, what a bonus! Like, I wouldn't
you'd be chewing on that thing.
I would be kind of excited.
Yeah, no, he was like, he's like, you got a chew toy. He's like, and I'm a dog.
I'm not even gonna pretend. Like, if your fake titty squeaks like a dog toy, like.
We could be all up on that.
I'm sorry, but you have my attention. And I can't say the novelty's not going to wear off, but for a while, it's going to be really cool for me. I'm not even going to lie about that.
That was one of the funniest, most unexpected moments ever. His face, too. Yeah. You should just watch that video if you haven't seen it. It's one of the funniest comedy bits ever.
We need a Jamie.
Yeah.
We're we're on the hunt for it. If anybody wants to be our Jamie for Original Substance Podcast, we need somebody to
pull up some good
pull up our
clips
videos and our cultural, social,
and our
internet references,
and our methylene blue research,
and kind of give people a visual on our screen for the things that we're kind of jabbing about, so that folks don't have to just stare at our face, which is not as interesting as the internet. I mean, I can be honest about that.
Yep.
It's pretty interesting, but not as interesting as the internet. But yeah, I guess a fake titty rolled up on the beach in Florida somewhere. I heard it on Theo Von. He explained it, and of course it was hilarious hearing him talk about it.
Yeah, I bet. All right, switch up. What is something that most people believe that you think completely the opposite of? So what's a strong held belief by most people that you basically have a strong held belief in the other like direction?
You're asking all these tough questions today. I don't know if I have any real like oil and water. I'm sure I do, but it would be
you have a lot.
It would be tough for me to pick out like oil and water belief systems that I carry.
I think it could just be general.
That like I'm like not with the herd. I honestly don't know how to answer that.
Okay.
What's one that you have? I don't know. I'm not like pulling
that
a
was
lot
supposed to be fun. That was from a dating game.
I'm not pulling a lot of. Well, I don't think we're dating.
We're roommates, close enough.
Not yet. Give it time.
I believe
we're dating the Kangen.
Congalina Jolie.
It's a water filter.
I believe that no matter how difficult or painful or boring life gets, that it's like inherently fantastical, and that it's up to us to just like find the lens or the mindset to make it that way. And like it really doesn't matter what's like in front of you circumstantially. How you perceive it is completely up to you, and anything can become like an interesting game or experience, no matter how boring it is or how terrible it is, if you can like just play with it. And most people don't think that way. Most people just like whatever the surface level experience is, however you're supposed to interpret it, is like they think you have to. And there's these things we used to do in these like little spiritual like meetups where like they would like force you to like, okay, just laugh even if nothing's funny, and you're like ha ha ha. Like, okay, I will be angry. You're like angry, and you realize that like really you do have complete emotional control of yourself even when you don't think you do. And it's like, oh, so we're all really self-creating our experience the whole time, no matter what the circumstance is. And yeah, so it's like it's a powerful but painful perception, I think, because it's like we're always in control.
I think that like gratitude is the antidote to like endless capitalistic longing and attachment, right? Like if you pull up any social media platform, like you pull up Instagram or you pull up Facebook, it's all just like longing for the next thing. Like,
yeah,
get the class, get the product, get the body, get the this, get the that, right? But like gratitude is the antidote to that. And when you consider how good you actually have it, because we don't compare ourselves relative to the rest of the world. We compare ourselves to our peers.
Yep.
Like if we look at like the pay we're making, or we look at the clothes we're wearing, or the car we're driving, we compare ourselves to our neighbors.
Yep.
We compare ourselves to our friends. We compare ourselves to the people in our community.
And if you're like hyper
culture,
if you're hyper or whatever, then you compare yourself. You don't even compare yourself to those people. You compare yourself to top celebrities and Instagram models and nothing else.
Right, which
you don't even know their whole life. You just see the image.
In fact, more
compare
likely
yourself to a fake image.
Yeah, and more likely than not, like the image that's being published is different than their actual life. Yeah. And like, you know, it all comes down to comparison. And if you compare yourself to, say, you know, somebody who lives on, say, $1.30 a day and lives in Mexico.
Yeah.
You're a king.
Yeah.
They would kill to have your life.
Yeah, they would.
And would like the life you're living that you're complaining about is somebody's ideal.
Yeah.
It's like that would be
And
making
and it's probably
that would be making it.
It's probably a long past version of yourself's ideal too.
Yeah, like the life that you resent right now is probably somebody's dream life.
Yeah.
And you just don't realize it, right? And like I think gratitude is the antidote to that mind virus.
Yeah.
That mind virus of like, oh, I just need the next, the greatest, the best, the most, you know. And we kind of talked about the reward of like accomplishing a goal, like shooting for a goal and accomplishing it. And there is something to that, but I think when you really just take the time to just be grateful and just think, wow, like, like think about when you get a new phone, right? And you have that like hit of like you got something new, like it's new and it's special and it's fun and like, wow, I got something new here, But like it doesn't last forever, right? And so we're always chasing that feeling. We're always chasing that feeling of like the new, the new, the new. But it's like if you just appreciate what you have as though it's that new thing,
then
right?
it can be.
And like this is an apt pun, right? Because it's not a pun, but it's an apt example because you just got a new phone, right? Yeah. And like I have a phone that's a generation down from yours, which was new to me a year ago.
Yeah.
And like I took it to the beach and it got super hot and overheated and I turned it off and it wouldn't turn back on. And I was like freaking out because I was like, oh my God, like I just bricked my phone that I love so much. But like I started thinking about it and I was just like, man, like God, like I would be so sad if this phone wasn't working, right? I would just be so sad.
Yeah.
If I got this phone that's less than a year old and it's bricked, like I would be so sad. And I just started like really feeling like grateful. I was just like, yeah, that's right. I'm really grateful for this phone, And like I found a place where I just like felt this gratitude about it, and it was like it was brand new all over again, right? Because I fixed it. I went online and I looked it up and I found a little button trick that you do, and I got it to boot. But I really thought it was gone. But like I came back on. It reminds me of Fight Club, right? Remember that scene in Fight Club where he takes the guy behind the corner store and he pulls a gun to his head and he's like, Raymond K. Kessel or whatever, like, what did you want to be? And he's like, a veterinarian. And then like he honestly thought he was going to die.
Yeah.
And like Tyler Durden goes, tomorrow morning his breakfast is going to taste better than any breakfast we've ever tasted.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. It's like
it's the same experience you've always had, but it's a brand new appreciation.
If you can find the appreciation for the things that you've already got, and like really truly find gratitude in those things to the level that was when you first got it, that same level of like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm so blessed to have this. Then it never gets old, right?
Yeah.
Like it never ages. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just. I think gratitude is like the key. Like gratitude is the key to the kingdom of having. It's the key, and it's the antidote to the always attachment and longing and wanting and
thinking you're in lack.
If I get the next thing, I'll be happy. I'll be happy when. If you can be happy now, if you really take a moment to like really examine and look at your life and realize how many things are actually right. And it's just where you focus that lens. It's where you put your lens of reality on, like, is it on the things you have or is it on the things that you don't have?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. 100%.
Something like that.
Well, I'm happy with what we talked about today.
Mostly, yeah. I think it's mostly good. What else is new in your life? What have you been working on? I started a new job. I started selling home water systems. I clean up water for people. There's a ton of dirty water in the world, and I sell home water systems that help clean up waters for homes and families and take chemicals out of water and take nasty forever chemicals. And
yeah, I feel like you've really been seeing what's in our water, from a firsthand experience all around the counties, wells, different neighborhoods, like bad stuff.
It's nasty. It's nasty. Yeah. If none of you have ever been on ewg.org, that's a good place to go and put in your zip code and look up what's in your water in your local community. That's ewg.org, and you can enter your zip code and they'll tell you exactly all the nasty stuff that's coming through the pipes in your house.
Yeah.
And some of it'll really shock you. I mean, stuff that if you knew, you would never drink it. If I took the chemicals out of the water and I set them on a table and I put little poison stickers on them, you would never in your wildest dreams drink them. But if you dilute them down and put them in that water, suddenly it's palatable.
Yeah.
and it's like a mental thing.
Like
I think
it builds up.
the state of water right now is one of cigarette smoking in the 1960s. You can smoke a cigarette or two, and I promise it's not going to kill you. In the same way you can drink a glass of water or two, and it's not going to kill you. But you do that for 10 years every day, you might die.
Yeah.
You know, it's like one of those slow killers.
Yeah.
And right now, no one wants to admit that that's what it is. Everyone's still smoking on airplanes, just tapping up tap water. And I feel bad. I look at people and I feel bad knowing that they're doing that to themselves.
Yeah. I think it's just important to think about, like, everything in life has different levels of quality. Like, there is no escape from that. Like, the food you eat, the environment you're in, your relationships, water, air, there's levels of quality to all of them, and the level of quality matters. Like, do you want to live your life in like a 1950s TV level of quality, or do you want to live like a ultra like 8K level of quality? Well, it's like you get to choose, and it's like that with water. People just think all water is water. It's just this liquid substance, H2O, that just does the same thing as everything else. It's like, no, there's like many levels and versions of that, and what you intake is what you become and is what you experience. And yeah, it's just, I think it's a fundamental step of awareness that most people don't operate from. And for water, it's super important because it's like you can't do better until you know better. But it's like, you should, at this point, look into it and know better. Like, there's quality levels, and you can change them, and they will make a dramatic impact on your long-term life.
Yeah, I'm like, I totally agree with what you're saying. Like, water matters. Water really matters. And I think that there's a lot of disinformation out there.
Yeah.
About the quality of water and the impact it has on your health, on your well-being, on your immune system, on, you know, water is life. There's a reason that when we hit a new planet, the first thing we look for is water.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. That is the most important thing that is looked for. They don't go looking for new minerals that they can sell on Earth. They don't go looking, you know, they look for water, because water creates life, and life is precious, right? And if water is the primary constituent of your body, it's the most important thing for life, kind of makes sense to prioritize that in your life, right? You know, like,
it's like maybe part of it is because we have a lack of appreciation for it. We have such an abundance of it in these first world countries. Like, if you watch Dune 2, how sacredly do they treat water?
Yeah,
because it's like
they suck it out of bodies.
It's scarce, but it's not scarce for us. So we just, like, we don't put any thought into it because it's just so, like, everywhere.
That was a kick-ass movie, I gotta admit. Like, you hyped it up, and I thought it wasn't going to be that good, because usually when somebody hypes something up to you, you build it up in your head, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go see this, and you know, it'll be good, but it won't be like, you almost set the bar too high, you know? Yeah. But it actually was a really good film, and I liked it a lot better than the first one in that series.
Yeah.
Like, I would, even at this moment, I would go see that movie again in theaters before it leaves theaters, because it was just that prolific. It was like,
it's such a cinematic experience too.
I haven't been that, like, raptured by a film since like The Last of the Mohicans or Braveheart, or like one of those epic classics where you feel like you're a character in that movie.
Yeah.
They really captured the essence of that story. Yeah. It was really awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely got me hyped to see the next one. I mean, dude, to me, shout out to freaking whatever his name is, Paul Atreides actor. Like, he really took that role and ran with it, and like just he killed it.
I hope he wins an award.
Yeah,
I mean,
Timothy Chalamet.
He was really good.
Like, you believed that he believed everything he did in that movie. You know, like, it was real. I think that was like the key. Like, there was a million great components, but he took it all the way to the top. It was super inspiring.
There's like so many contemporary integrations culturally into that story, right? Yeah. Like the spread of like the religion. They have to like use religion as a vehicle to like win the hearts and minds of the people as they like take over this planet. And like, you know, you see a lot of
see the behind the scenes, like the plans of who's gonna be in control and who the upcoming like designated leader is gonna be, because they can be controlled by someone behind the scenes, and it's like bloodlines and like feudal warfare. You know, there's always like big political dynamics going on.
And the psychedelics in it too.
Yeah, and psychedelics.
Right? Like
it's a major. I mean,
like
it's literally
the water of life that looks exactly the same color as methylene blue, which is really weird.
Yeah.
Like as I was watching that movie, I was like, oh, I should order that methylene blue.
That's actually why we have methylene blue.
That is literally why I ordered it, because I saw that movie and I was like, that looks exactly like methylene blue. I'm gonna order it finally. Yeah. And like, there's a lot of like psychedelic kind of, you know, influences in that film, which is super interesting. It's a lot of things you see in contemporary life, like contemporary American life.
Yeah.
A lot of the themes from that movie kind of translate over
to
like
that's probably why it speaks to us so hard.
What we experience day by day. What else? We went and saw that comedian. His name is Brent Pella.
Yeah, Brent Pella. That was real fun.
Shout out to Brent Pella. I hope you see our podcast. I hope you're still coming by for a party.
Oh, he is. Dude, Brent Pella's hilarious.
Did you ever email him? Didn't he give you like an email or a phone number?
No, but I will.
You think it was bunk?
No, I think he's being legit.
You think it was a real email?
Being legit. That's definitely a real email. He may have multiple emails.
But do you think you can reach him there?
Whether or not I can reach him there, I think I can reach him in general. I don't think he's like an unreachable person.
His sketch comedy is hilarious.
Dude, he's great.
Like out of control.
He's upcoming. He's a great upcoming.
If you've never seen Brent Pella, go check out his content because he's on one. He's on one.
A lot of energy, that guy.
Just really super funny.
What did he say? Like right at the beginning, he's like, "Yeah," he's like, "Something about Tampa just really makes me horny."
Yeah.
Just all these chicks in the crowd.
I think he spent 20 minutes just talking about his big floppy penis.
Yeah.
Like I think that was like
at least
20 minutes of his bit, and talking about Tampa making him horny. There is something about Tampa that just makes you horny.
There's just a lot of
I don't know what it is.
Walking around.
It must be in the water.
Yeah.
It's one of those chemicals.
They're turning the frogs gay, but they're turning the men horny. You know, something.
Speaking of horny, so I started taking Tonkat Ali.
Hell yeah, you did.
Courtesy of my compadre here, he had an extra bottle arrive, and
I sent some to my dad too. I sent him a bottle.
For those not in the know, Tonkat Ali is an Asian herb that boosts male testosterone. We're talking like 50%. I'm sorry, up to 100% or more increases.
Yeah.
I don't know what these levels mean, but you can go from like a 500 to like 1300 if you're just kind of a normal, healthy guy under 50. If you're over 50, it gives you like a 100% boost or 80% boost, which is very substantial for a man over 50 who's in andropause, which is the male version of menopause, right? It's the reducing of the production of testosterone. And I gotta say, for the first 3 to 4 days of taking that herb, very intense sex dreams. 3 to 4.
Yeah.
I mean, all night long. Like, it was like, whoa, something turned on here. Like, really noticeable. Now, day by day, like after 4 days or so, that kind of went away. And I don't really feel like super like turbocharged off it anymore.
Yeah.
Like maybe I notice it, but I just started doing some research into it. And I found a study that showed that it actually decreases stress hormones by like ballpark 15%. Like cortisol, for example, which is a stress hormone, is reduced by like 15% by taking Tonkat Ali, which is super interesting. So it's not only good for like hormone boost for a man, but also actually also good for reducing the levels of hormones that are related to stress and actual,
which is huge,
stress and anxiety itself, which is like obviously a huge win for anybody that works and has a stressful job, and which is most people.
100%. That's like when I notice, like when I'm doing things between activities and supplements for reducing stress, like it has such a tangible impact on how you respond to life. Like when I have the things in place and crazy things happen, it's like I don't even know that they're happening. That's how like powerful these things can be for your stress reduction. Like, you know, like
lower your mic just slightly, because you're no, not the volume, but the actual mic, because you kind of are obstructing your face. There you go.
Yeah, it's super key to get some stress reducing supplements, I think. Whether that's like some ashwagandha, some maca, could just be like a mushroom adaptogenic complex from pick your favorite brand. But like when you take them consistently, like things can just hit you and you can just like and that's it. And you're just on to the next thing, you know? Combine that with a little meditation and like some good sleep, and it's like, dude, you're like a little freaking like robust bumper car, you know? It's like you're almost looking for to get hit just because it's fun.
That might just be a you thing.
That might just be a me thing.
I think you are just kind of a bumper car in the world of life. I think that kind of gives you got one of those little like sparky things at the fair and just run into things. I think that's a pretty good, that like, yeah.
That's a Benjamin way to live.
Yeah, I think that could be like a Benjamin car,
Yeah.
like just bumping into shit. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
It gives me energy, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to do some bumper cars. I saw Carnival was here in Tampa, Florida recently. There was a carnival held at a church.
Right next to. Well, there's another one.
It was very carny, you know, all the carny things that you'd expect to see at a carnival. What do you think about carnivals?
My brother came to my high school graduation party at the beach with my family, and he brought his hot Brazilian girlfriend, and my dad's a pastor. He's very conservative, and my brother's Brazilian girlfriend convinces my brother to wear like very, very short bathing suit, and you know, she's basically in like a thong, and they're walking down the beach, and my dad turns to my brother-in-law and he goes, "Yeah, that Joel, he's very carnal-minded."
Carnal-minded?
Carnal-minded.
You got that
it's like
carnal.
such a dad thing to say.
He got that carnal
such a preacher
mind.
dad thing to say.
Yeah, he got that.
He's very carnal-minded.
He got that carnal mind. Oh yeah.
Anyways.
I think that was apt. Was that
funny.
before or after he started taking Tonkat Ali?
No, this was like 10 years ago.
Okay, so maybe now he's even more on it.
Yeah.
He might even be
I
more.
don't even know if my brother's on Joel. I don't know if Joel's on Tonkat Ali. He should be, though.
How many brothers you got? Two?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nate's been on it before. But that's cool to get my dad on it. My dad was having a little bit of like heart troubles recently. And so
You should get him on that metformin, NNM, and resveratrol, brah.
Yeah.
Because that's the stack.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You should actually
NNM, resveratrol, and metformin.
You should help me find those.
Oh, it's easy. Yeah, it's easy. They sell them stacked now. They got supplements on Amazon. That's a stack of NNM and metformin. I'm sorry, NNM and resveratrol, which is the compound that you get from red wine, from the skin of red wine.
Yeah, but probably much more.
But without the alcohol
much higher
payload. And
dose, probably.
yeah, the metformin you just get from any physician will just happily prescribe it. It's very safe. It's been around since the 1950s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm at the age where like my dad and most dads are starting to have like that. You know, if I'm almost 30, your dad's gonna be like in the 60 range, 55, 60. That's when they start having.
Yeah, my dad's like 72.
That's when they start having heart problems.
Yeah.
You know, like I've had two of my best friends both lost their dads in the past 2 years, and it's like a lot of heart related stuff. So you gotta start watching out for your fam, like helping them out, because these old school dudes don't really know the things that can help them. You know.
For me, the hard part's getting them to take it. Like
Yeah.
I have the answers.
Yeah.
Like I have your answers. I can fix your problem. But convincing them that you have
It's
that
true.
answer
It's
and
true.
that you know better than their doctor that spent 5 years in medical school.
Yeah.
Like that's the hurdle that I face most often.
For sure.
Because it's like, you don't actually think you know more than Dr. What's his fuck drug dealer guy.
Yep.
Like, and the reality is I probably do. I've probably
Yeah.
done more research and I've probably looked for more answers and not treatments
Yeah.
that are money producing, mills.
Yeah.
Not a racket of producing cash, but actually like a solution to help actually solve the problem. And like most people will stand behind their credibility to maintain that money making venture and put that out on the line, right? And be like, well, I'm the doctor, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, you're just the doctor representing like not a solution, but just something to make you money. And unfortunately, that's the state of the world. Like, you know what I mean? Like unfortunately, that's where we're at, is that money's become so central to people in their lives that they're willing to compromise on their ethics to maintain it.
Yeah, it's true. It's sad but true. One day or another, It always comes around. You know.
Yeah, I don't know, but NNM and resveratrol and metformin, that's a good stack. That's a 10-year
Yeah,
life extending stack.
I'll definitely see if I can help him get started on that.
It's a solid. It's a real solid.
Well, I need to wrap up for work. Any closing thoughts?
Not really. I'm just kind of thinking about the fake titty rolling up on the beach, like rolling up on the waves, like what the look on the face of the first person was who found it. You know, they probably thought it was a jellyfish.
Yeah, you probably just think it's a jellyfish.
They're probably poking it with a stick like it was a jellyfish.
Is it alive? Is this thing alive?
They realized it was a fake titty. Kind of reminds me of like ambergris. That's that whale puke that they use in perfumes. You know about this? Yeah, every now and again, a sperm whale like pukes up a hairball, the equivalent of a cat's hairball, and it's this stuff called ambergris, and it's exceedingly expensive. It's like $50,000, no more, like $500,000 for like a lump like this big.
You think that's the?
Because it's used in.
You think
perfumes.
That's where Avatar 2 got their idea of like there's like the crystal in the heart of every whale in the Avatar Sea, and they all hunt them down and get their like juice from them. You see Avatar 2? You know they hunt down the whales movie. And they have like a little like heart. Oh, terrible movie. It really was.
James Cameron.
Dude.
Fuck you for that.
Yeah, man. I waited so long and got so excited and was so let down.
James Cameron.
And I will never watch that movie again.
Deserves a swift kick in the dick for that one.
I will not even show my kids that bullcrap.
Even he knew it sucked. I know he did.
Yeah.
How could you not?
You have to know.
How could you not?
You have to know.
Like I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, you find a big weird lump on the beach. It's either a fake titty or it's some whale puke, and it's worth like $500,000. So take those things home, put them on your shelf, put them next to your seashells, and you could either be a millionaire or have a really cool story for your family at Thanksgiving dinner.
Hoorah.
I think that's it for today.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in, folks.
Yes, sir.
We'll get you a new one soon. Peace.
Peace. Have a great day.